In the heart of a picturesque suburban neighborhood, a story of love, betrayal, and tragedy unfolded that would shock the community to its core. This is the tale of a family torn apart by a brother's fatal attraction to his sister-in-law. The Anderson family appeared to have it all. James Anderson was a successful businessman, known for his charisma and leadership. He married the love of his life, Laura, a beautiful and kind-hearted woman who worked as a school teacher. They had two young children, Emma and Noah, and their life seemed picture-perfect. James's younger brother, Michael Anderson, was often in the background of this seemingly perfect family portrait. Michael was charming and outgoing, but he struggled to find his own path in life. He bounced between jobs and relationships, always looking for something that seemed just out of reach. Despite his struggles, Michael was close to his brother James, and the family often included him in their gatherings and celebrations. However, beneath the surface of this happy family, a dark and dangerous obsession was brewing. Michael had always admired Laura from afar, captivated by her beauty and grace. Over time, this admiration turned into a deep and unhealthy obsession. Michael found himself thinking about Laura constantly, and his feelings for her grew more intense with each passing day. It all began innocently enough. Michael would often visit James and Laura's home, enjoying meals and spending time with his nieces and nephews. Laura, always warm and welcoming, treated Michael like a member of the family. She had no idea that his feelings for her were anything but brotherly. As time went on, Michael's visits became more frequent. He would find excuses to drop by unannounced, always eager to see Laura. He started helping out around the house, fixing things that were broken and offering to babysit the children. Laura appreciated his help, grateful for the support while James was busy with work. But Michael's intentions were far from innocent. He began to orchestrate situations where he and Laura would be alone together. He would linger after family dinners, offering to help clean up or suggest they watch a movie together after the kids had gone to bed. Laura, trusting and kind-hearted, saw no harm in spending time with her brother-in-law. One evening, while James was away on a business trip, Michael saw his opportunity. He suggested that he and Laura have a movie night, just the two of them. Laura agreed, seeing it as a way to unwind after a long day. As they sat on the couch, Michael's heart raced. He was inches away from the woman he had fantasized about for so long. Halfway through the movie, Michael made his move. He casually placed his arm around Laura's shoulders, pretending to stretch. Laura glanced at him, slightly surprised, but didn't pull away. Encouraged by her response, Michael leaned in closer. He could smell her perfume, feel the warmth of her body next to his. It was intoxicating. As the night went on, Michael's advances became more bold. He complimented Laura incessantly, telling her how beautiful she was, how lucky James was to have her. Laura, feeling a mixture of flattery and discomfort, tried to change the subject, but Michael was relentless. Finally, he couldn't hold back any longer. He confessed his feelings to Laura, telling her how much he loved her, how he couldn't stop thinking about her. Laura was stunned. She had never seen Michael this way, and, though she didn't reciprocate his feelings, she was caught off guard by his passion. Flattered and curious, Laura didn't immediately reject him. They shared a few more moments of closeness, and Michael's obsession deepened. Over the next few weeks, Laura found herself drawn to Michael's attention. She enjoyed the compliments and the feeling of being desired. They shared secretive glances and occasional touches, always careful to keep their interactions hidden from James. However, as Michael's advances grew more intense, Laura began to realize the danger of their situation. The guilt weighed heavily on her, and she knew she had to make a choice. One afternoon, while James was at work and the children were at school, Michael arrived unexpectedly at Laura's home. He had brought lunch and suggested they have a picnic in the backyard. Laura hesitated, but agreed, thinking it was a harmless gesture. As they sat on a blanket, enjoying the sunny afternoon, Michael became more affectionate. He held Laura's hand and looked into her eyes, telling her how much he adored her. Laura, feeling overwhelmed by his intensity, tried to pull away, but Michael persisted. He leaned in and kissed her. It was a brief kiss, but it sent shock waves through Laura. She realized that their flirtation had crossed a line, and she needed to end it before it destroyed her family. That night, Laura was filled with guilt and fear. She couldn't bring herself to tell James about the kiss, but she knew she had to put a stop to Michael's advances. She decided to confront him the next day and make it clear that their relationship had to remain strictly platonic. The following day, Laura called Michael and asked him to meet her at a nearby park. When they met, Laura was resolute. She told Michael that the kiss was a mistake and that she loved James. She insisted that they could never be together and begged him to respect her decision. Michael was devastated. He couldn't accept that the woman he loved would choose his brother over him. His obsession turned to anger, and he began to plot a way to remove James from the picture. Michael's obsession drove him to meticulously plan James's murder. He began by researching various methods and devising a plan that would make it look like an accident. He spent hours online, reading about different ways to cause harm without raising suspicion. His mind became consumed with thoughts of eliminating his brother and taking his place in Laura's life. One weekend, Michael suggested a family camping trip, presenting it as an opportunity for everyone to relax and bond. James and Laura agreed, seeing it as a chance to spend quality time together. They packed up their gear and headed to a remote campsite in the woods, unaware of Michael's sinister intentions. The first day of the trip went smoothly. The family enjoyed hiking, fishing, and roasting marshmallows by the campfire. Michael kept his composure, acting like the loving uncle and brother he pretended to be. However, as night fell and everyone settled into their tents, Michael's mind raced with thoughts of his final plan. In the early hours of the morning, Michael snuck out of his tent and approached James's tent. He had brought a knife, its blade gleaming in the moonlight. Michael's heart pounded as he crept closer, knowing this was his last chance to carry out his plan. He unzipped the tent quietly, his hands shaking with anticipation. Just as Michael was about to strike, Laura stirred in her sleep and noticed a shadow outside her tent. She quietly got up to investigate, thinking it might be an animal. When she saw Michael standing over James with a knife, she gasped in horror. Michael turned to her, his eyes filled with a mix of desperation and rage. Laura screamed, waking James and the children. James quickly realized what was happening and tackled Michael to the ground. The two brothers struggled, their fight becoming more violent by the second. Laura grabbed the children and ran to the car, frantically calling 911. James and Michael's struggle ended with Michael overpowering James. He stabbed his brother, leaving him to bleed out on the forest floor. Hearing the sirens in the distance, Michael fled into the woods, leaving a trail of chaos and destruction behind him. The police arrived and found James's lifeless body. Laura and the children were taken to safety, their lives forever changed by the night's events. A manhunt for Michael ensued, and he was eventually captured, hiding in a nearby abandoned cabin. The trial that followed was a media sensation, with the details of Michael's obsession and the tragic events that unfolded being dissected in the public eye. Laura bravely took the stand, recounting the harrowing events that led to her husband's death. She spoke of Michael's advances, her initial acceptance, and the moment she decided to stay loyal to James. Her testimony was emotional and heartbreaking, painting a picture of a woman caught in an unimaginable nightmare. Michael's defense team argued that he was mentally unstable, driven to madness by his unrequited love for Laura. They claimed that he had not intended to kill James, but had acted in a moment of insanity. However, the prosecution presented a compelling case, detailing Michael's calculated attempts to win Laura's affection and the violent culmination of his obsession. The jury deliberated for days, grappling with the complexities of the case. In the end, Michael was found guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a punishment that reflected the gravity of his actions and the devastating impact on the Anderson family. The tale of the Anderson family serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked obsession and the devastating consequences it can have. It is a story of love turned deadly, of a family torn apart by betrayal and violence. As we reflect on their story, we are reminded of the importance of understanding and addressing mental health issues, and the need for compassion and support in the face of unimaginable tragedy. In the years that followed, Laura and her children struggled to rebuild their lives. The loss of James was a wound that never fully healed, but they found strength in each other and the support of their community.